request all of you to please be seated for this very interesting session. We come to the concluding day of the summit. Today we are discussing a subject which affects lives of millions of women. Women today have excelled in every field in this competitive era, but they are very few in numbers. We need to bring more and more women in the forefront, and in this era of competition, women will rise to this occasion to become entrepreneurs. Discussing on this subject, we have eminent panelists who will deliberate on the challenges women face, and some of them will also present their experiences on how they overcame those challenges. This session will be chaired by Ms. Michelle Weldon. I'm pleased to invite you all the eminent speakers on stage. Ms. Michelle Weldon, Strategic Partnership Coordinator, UN Women Office for India, Bhutan, Maldives, and Sri Lanka, India. May I invite her? Ms. Michelle. Ms. Saidi Fatima Mogimi, Member of Board of Representative and Advisor to the President on Business Women and Entrepreneurs Affairs, Tehran Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Mines and Agriculture. Ms. Amrit Shehzad, Founder and CEO, Zest Incorporated, USA. Ms. Akila Agarwal, Partner, Amarchand and Mangal Das and Suresh A. Shroff and Company, India. Ms. Shabnam Gupta, Principal Designer, The Orange Lane, India. Ms. Keron Shaiva, Chief Impact Officer, MD in Idopro Impact Solutions, India. Ms. Nilima Patil, Chairperson, Mahindra Samiti, Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Agriculture, Nashik Branch, India. Ms. Khatira Yusufi, Afghan-German journalist and ambassador of the Organization of War Victims and Disabled People in Afghanistan. Ms. Neela Kanti Ford, Director, Europe and Asia, KFC Consulting, and ex-chairperson of London Women in Business Network. I'm pleased to welcome you all on stage. I now hand over the session to Ms. Michelle, who's the chairperson.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for arriving on time. And I'm sorry we're a little bit behind schedule, but we're going to try to make up time. And we're going to set a record of finishing this panel on time. I'm going to change the program slightly because some of our panelists have to leave early. So the order will be in the order of their flight departure. So Nilikanti Ford will go first, and then our lovely speaker from Iran will go second. Okay? I'm going to start by giving a brief overview about the work of UN Women in the global context and the regional and the national context. Could I please have the next slide? Do I have yeah. Thank you very much. So, 1/2 of the world's population is female, as you all know. Yet in some areas of the world, there is so little that belongs to them. India ranks 132 countries out of 148 countries in the Gender Inequality Index. 2/3 of the women are subjected to violence against women. And India ranks 120 out of 131 countries in female participation in the labor force. So there is a lot of room for improvement. Unleashing the economic power of women and bringing the world's largest excluded group into the fold is a priority. Gender gaps in labor force participation exist everywhere, not only in India, in Iran, in Afghanistan, but in the US, in the UK. Only 26% of Indian women are employed, and 65% are literate. Oops. Sorry. I'm ahead of my slides. Okay, UN Women ensures that commitments to gender equality and mainstreaming translate throughout the world. We are the newest of the UN agencies. We were established in 2010, and our work in India, our country office covers India, Bhutan, the Maldives, and Sri Lanka. We work with government, civil society partners, and to design laws, policies, programs, needed to implement and achieve standards. So I'm going to first go through the global responsibilities of UN Women. So we support governments on promoting women's empowerment and gender equality. And we do that through, it's okay. We do it through a variety of intergovernmental processes. We have the Commission on the Status of Women, which is an instrument shaping global standards on gender equality and women's empowerment. We also have the Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against women. So the Commission on the Status of Women meets once every year in March. And this year they met to discuss the Millennium Development Goals, and next year they're meeting to discuss the Beijing Platform for Action, which member states made a commitment to 12 critical areas that focus on women. The Convention of Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women is a convention that 189 member states have signed up to and have to report once every 4 years on where they are in terms of their legislation and implementing the articles of this convention. India just reported in July, and the concluding recommendations have come out. We also work on the Millennium Development Goals and the post-2015 Development Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. So as the world looks at the post-2015 Development Agenda, gender and women are a large focus, and there is a standalone goal focused on gender equality and various indicators that are focused on gender as well. So this is related to work with entrepreneurs because the legislation, the policies, as well as the programs to change behavior are related around these conventions and these intergovernmental processes. And it's also a way to pressure member states to do more for women. So this is the Beijing Platform for Action, which focuses on 12 critical areas. And one of those critical areas is what we're discussing today. It's women in the economy. So changing economic policies, changing laws and institutions, and changing attitudes and cultures is what UN Women advocates. We have seen that countries can lift up women by adopting more pro-female, pro-family approaches, such as in Sweden and in the Netherlands, where women have part-time work, but full-time rights. We have also seen gender gaps are lower where men and women are treated equally under the law in terms of inheritance, property, and economic opportunities. We've also seen that changing laws and policies alone cannot fix the challenges we face with women's economic empowerment. We also need to change attitudes and move away from a male-dominated culture to make it more open and receptive to the great contributions offered by women in society, as we have seen throughout the expo in the hall. So our work in in India and Bhutan and the Maldives focuses on 5 areas: enhancing women's economic empowerment, ending violence against women and girls, increasing women's leadership and participation, gender-responsive budgeting, and engaging women in all aspects of peace and security. 2 of our focus areas, engaging women's economic empowerment as well as gender-responsive budgeting, are the core of UN Women's positive and active promotion of women in the economy. I'm going to give one example of work that we've done. We have a gender and trade in green growth project in Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, and Nepal. And we conducted a study to look at regional trade and the impacts it has on women in South Asia. And we found that trade in South Asia is very limited, but if it were to be expanded, women's role, women's businesses could really grow. So this study is going to be coming out soon. This young woman from Bhutan, for example, what we found in this study, and what we did is we looked at different case studies in each of these countries and the difficulties they have in accessing markets. So one of the things that UN Women is pushing for with ADB, the Asian Development Bank, is to see how we can use trade actually to push women in the economy. Women hold 14% of senior management roles in India and 24% globally. In Asia Pacific, only 14% of women only 14% of working women are graduates, and only 8% are CEOs. But female consumers around the globe control around $20 trillion worth of consumer spending and 80% of buying. So there is really, we contribute to the economy, the global economy, enormously. We have found that companies with more women managers have 34% more shareholder returns. So it makes business sense to include women. So we have 3 programs in particular that are relevant to today's discussion. The first is the Women Empowerment Principles. The second is a Women Focus Knowledge Gateway. And the third is this global campaign, which is on the Beijing Platform for Action, which took place in 1995, where member states for the first time made a commitment to 12 critical areas that focus on women, one of which is women in the economy. So then the Women Empowerment Principles are designed to help companies promote gender equality, not only in the workplace, but the marketplace and the community. There's 7 principles. The first is focus on corporate leadership, the second on equal opportunities and non-discrimination, the third on health and safety, the fourth on enterprise development, so really looking at the company's supply chain, the fifth to promote education, training, and professional development, the sixth to promote leadership, engagement, and advocacy, and the 7th is focusing on transparency and measurement. To date, 808 companies have signed up globally. And in India, we have 11 signatories. So maybe this will be of interest to some of the companies that are here today, but also to some of the SMEs. If you have more than 10 employees, then you're eligible to be a WEP signatory. In addition to the WEPs, we have a knowledge gateway called Empower Women, and the Business Hub was just launched on the 11th of September, and it's a global platform to promote collaboration, learning, innovation, and to advance women's economic rights. The Business Hub for Gender Equality's website is there, And I have more information on that website should you be interested. But it's really a platform for businesses, but also for SMEs to exchange best practice and learnings. We at the moment are conducting a global campaign called Picture It, where we invite men and women to engage in conversations, to imagine a world where gender equality is a reality, and we really address the existing gaps. So that's my presentation, and I'm now going to invite you up to the podium.
Good morning, everybody, distinguished panelists. It's a delight to be able to speak to you about empowering women and working in a women's world. It's very interesting to see that there are actually quite a few men here. I was expecting everybody just to be a very female audience, so that's brilliant. My background goes back, I was brought up in Sri Lanka, so I do understand living in a nation society, and my experience with India goes back 20 years when I first came here as part of a team to negotiate a joint venture with GAIL. So since then I've traveled all over the world. I've worked in South America, 30 different countries in the world, including Europe. So this